Hi everyone, it's Sally again on Magic Mike Moments. And today I'm meeting with the beautiful Tony Miller down in Somerset in Tassie. Hey Tony, welcome.
Thanks, Al. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful, I called you. I love it. Anyway, so let me just give you a little intro. Tony is a musculo-skeletal specialist who uses unique versions of pressure points. He helps athletes and sports people naturally increase recovery, maximise performance, and give a faster return to competition by bypassing the Ricer method. Whoa, this sounds really interesting. Why don't you tell me a little bit how you got into all of this, Tony, in the first place?
The best way to describe how I got into it was luck.
Yeah,
I
right.
had a friend of mine ask me to help out with the local football club, doing some sports training because I have a medical background in ambulance as well as nursing.
Right, okay.
And I was looking at massage and I was thinking to myself, because I'm looking at things from the anatomy and physiology of the body and looking at it and going, well, if massage was working, everyone would be out, running back onto the ground, no problem. So I started having a look at a few different things. I'd heard of Bowens, I'd heard of other modalities, and I actually got to go to the Mind Health Festival in Launceston. There's a whole pile of different, and that's where I actually met my mentor, Pam Skeggs, and she introduced me to reflexology, and I loved the concept of it, that I could work on other parts of the body through the pressure points, because having played enough sport myself, I know when your body hurts, the last thing you want is anyone touching it, moving it. And so I got interested that way. Anyway, I looked at it and went, in regards to reflexology, which is the modality, no one had actually looked at it as in musculo-skeletal.
Yeah, right.
So I had to go back and actually basically remap things out, find out where everything was. And all these points are really, really accurate for everything from shoulders, elbows, AC joints, hips, knees, patellas, kneecaps, ankles, how to really quickly and effectively work on all these major joints. And I've said that was 14 years ago.
Whoa.
That I started all this. And the journey has led me here today. But the most amazing thing, I've now been able to get to a point where I've even have a modified version of reflexology. So some people say it isn't actually reflexology, but I'm actually doing anymore. And I just found by working these points, I can, like I said, increase recovery rates. An example was we had a player last year that dislocated his ankle.
Oh.
So it was actually a 45-degree angle actually out of place. He was game ready in 10 weeks.
Get out of town.
He within 4 weeks, he was kicking on his non-preferred and putting all his body weight on his other leg, which was still in a moonbit.
Wow.
So that was, we're able to, and what slowed him down was if anything, the doctors wanted, this more time, this standard time. And again, bypassing the Ricer method, which is one that, we've been taught over and over and over again that, this is how we treat soft tissue injuries.
Yeah.
The rest
every year, whenever you update it, that's the thing.
Yeah, is it just what we call dogma? Are we doing it just because that's what we did last year and the year before?
Yeah.
So we have a look at how this can work. Because I'm working on the pressure point, I don't physically have to touch the site, so therefore I'm not causing anything. Say you've got a corky in a thigh. If you could break that up straight away, get that corky to disperse, allow your lymphatic system to pick up any bleeds, and then ice it. What you find is the corky isn't there to, at the end of the day, to have to try and remove, whether that's through massage, ultrasound, when this thing's gone rock hard. So we can actually teach the players how to do this, the competitors, so they can work on themselves straight away. And, you know, there's been lots of talk about how is icing the best thing now. And this is where, you know, we can, if we can break up, the reason the icing is to stop the bleed and to contain it. If we use compression on it, it's a bit like if I cut my hand and I just let it, just don't do anything and let it, the blood will run down here. Eventually it'll congeal into a big ball. Well, that's what happens inside our leg with a corky. But if I do that, what happens to the corky? Yeah, it doesn't bleed out into a big ball. So if we can get the compression on it, first of all, use the pressure points, break up what's actually inside, then the damage that means the athlete to return to their competition is that much faster. So we go from a corky that could be, you know, 4 weeks down to 1 week.
Wow.
So that's how we bypass the ricin method. The other thing is with the pressure points, it's our, you know, they say our nervous system is mapped out through our hands, our feet, our ears. But what I've found, it's our entire body. So our skeletal structure is there. So if something gets displaced within us, it's displaced within our hands as well, our feet. We put these back into place, it stops the nerve stimulation, the muscle relaxes, and then it can recover. While it's a bit like putting your arm out dead straight and holding it like that, and having an injury in it, expecting it to recover quickly. It isn't. We need that muscle to relax. So we can that gets blood flow in, that gets drainage, and we go from there. So this is some of the things that I've discovered along the journey. And, you know, I've done things like, I've worked with professional athletes at the Burnie Dockers. I did 3 years in with there. The last 2 years I've actually worked with the Wynyard Football Club as their head trainer. And at the moment we've got about 8 sides, which between the junior club and senior club. So we've got everything from under 12s to under 18s, reserve seniors, a girls' side and a women's side. So, and then organising all the trainers around that.
So they must be seeing, you know, the results. You know, really.
Yeah. Like I said, I get players coming up to me even because it takes 3 days for it, say, let's just use a corky again as an example, for it to go solid. I'll get players coming up that haven't seen me, oh yeah, got one the other day, can you have a look at it? And just go pop, pop through that, and then their thigh can stretch out. Then they can start doing more rehab themselves. So that's just one area of it. But yeah, the whole journey has been like next. And
that leads me into my next question. Actually, I'm going to call you King of the Corky Tones.
Well, put it this way: it is just a simple. This is the thing. It is so simple. That is the I find one of the biggest problems people have with it is that simple.
Yeah. Well, that's a great segue into my next question, because along this journey, you would have come across quite a few challenges, like you mentioned before, with the medical sort of about it all. So what are some of the challenges or hurdles that you've had to overcome along this sort of 14-year journey?
Well, like I said before, the first one was finding everything, because in reflexology terms, reflexology had been used with mainly illnesses. It hadn't been used as a sporting modality.
Yeah, right.
So if we've got this sporting, we have to find, I had to find out where everything was. So I had to remap the hands and feet to find out exactly where everything was.
Yeah.
Once I found out where everything was, which was a lot of trial and error and actually using medical, because it was a medical process, because I knew I had the injury within the athlete.
Mm-hmm.
What I had to do, I had to find the equivalent reflex point.
Mm.
And one of the big things that got me in about reflexology was I remember when I first started using it, I had a run of about 6 guys with knee issues, but I could go to that point on the foot every single time, and that area was swollen, sore to touch, and that. And to me, that is too consistent.
Mm.
And I'm so like, right, I've got to look closer to this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still trying to find the boundaries of what we can actually do with it.
Mm.
And that is, for me, the scariest part of all. We can help so many people, so many different ways.
Yeah.
And just dealing with athletes, it's the challenges, the other challenges again, that, like I said, it's so simple and yet it works.
Yeah.
That's what I find people have one of the biggest problems with, because they're going,
The mindset.
It's got to be complicated. It's got to be hard to do. It's got to be, something. And like, it looks, from my perspective, that we've had this self-healing program basically built into us.
Yeah.
And all it is, when we're just not accessing it.
Yeah.
Thirdly, the whole belief thing is getting athletes away from a bit like the Ricer method, the dogma. This is how we've done it last year this way. We'll do it this year we're going to do it next year this way. And yes, it works.
Yeah.
I've done these things, but the time frames are. Now, the more and more we get more professional with athletes and sport, they want the same results. They want the medical, they want the fast results, and they want to be back in the competition that much quicker. So if we do the traditional, but it takes that much longer to get them back.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about this is, especially with everything, with sport today and drugs and everything else, there's nothing introduced, nothing at all.
Beautiful.
So this is one of the biggest concerns about, especially semi-professional athletes who have more of an opportunity. Professional, semi-professional athletes that have a possibility of being tested by ASADA. If they're getting fast results, ASADA is looking, all right, what are you doing?
Yeah, right.
This then gets into that point of, hang on a sec, all he's been doing is using the press. This is totally natural. Nothing's been into. There is no possibility that ASADA could have a problem with this, because all we're doing is what your body's got in the first place.
This is giving me a flashback to, who was that swimmer who had the cupping,
Michael Phelps. Yeah, I'm like, it was, that was like, come on, cupping's been around since, since going, oh my God, what's this amazing new thing?
And what I love, Tones, is that you can learn to treat yourself, get yourself in the points and work on yourself as well.
Yeah, well, this is the beautiful thing about it, is that we can learn where everything is and just how to work it ourselves. We can do it pre-competitive to help reduce down the possibility of soft tissue injuries.
It's brilliant.
So therefore, not saying it won't stop them, because especially when we've got bodies in motions, bodies can be stagnant, hit, things twisted, different body weights. It isn't saying it isn't a cure-all. Don't get me wrong. But what it is, it's a way to prevent them. And like a good example is, we have a look at a muscle tear then, or a muscle strain. If we have the nerve actually stimulated, say at 20%, and we'll use a hamstring, for example, and an athlete takes off at 85%, what's going to happen?
Mm. Mm.
We've got a tear.
Yeah. Ooh, can feel it.
Right. We take out that 20% stimulation. What happens when the athlete takes off at, say, 85%?
Mm.
Yeah. So is, say, a muscle tear actually a nerve problem, not a muscle? But the muscle's the thing that gets damaged.
Yeah.
But it's the nerve holding it that's actually causing the muscle to tear.
Yeah. You take it out, it's more relaxed. It's great.
A good example is any athlete. They'll do laps, and they'll stretch out, and they'll stretch out, and they'll feel the hammy let go, and they'll be like, "Oh yes, it's let go, beautiful." It's got that nice stretch. That's from that stiffness.
Yeah.
And they'll come back in 5 minutes and it's tight again.
Yeah.
That's when it's a nerve issue. It isn't a muscular issue.
Yeah. Mm.
And this is where an athlete can do damage.
This is like huge. It's huge times.
Yeah.
And I think in this day and age, the open-mindedness is there, new regimes or new, ideas or new approaches. It's perfect. So, talking about this group, your niche of athletes and sports people and whatever, what do you think at this moment in time is the biggest issue facing them?
Belief.
Yep.
Definitely belief, because they've been told time and time and time again that, this is the way we do it. This is almost that dogma. Other people in other modalities often go, no, this is the only way it works. This is and it's almost like a tunnel vision. Yeah. But if people are going to we have a look at our body, because I come from a nursing background, I look at all the systems.
Yep.
I'm not looking at just saying one's the problem, one's here, one's there.
Yep.
I'm saying I'm looking at the whole person. So all these different systems that are and how they interact. Because that's what we've got to deal with. If we're going to look at just one, we're going to be missing so many other things. And this is where I find, has been the problem with the belief that other things are possible. I worked, when I worked with the Bernie Dockers, I remember I had a player go to get assessed by the physio, and I was standing in the room. And the physio assessed him as, you're going to need 3 weeks for that. And I said, do you mind if I had a look? Came in, had a look, and put some things back into place for him, told him to go back, be assessed. The physio assessed him at 1 week. And that was within 5 minutes. Right, so we've got 2 weeks quicker return to training, competition, bang, back in. The beautiful thing about what I've developed and discovered is that this can be taught to other modalities.
Yep.
Right? It can be taught to, it can be taught to physios, sports physiologists, osteopaths.
I'm a PT, and so, with my clients.
Yeah, PTs, how to help with clients actually, anyone that's got a stiffness or something like that you're worried about.
Necks, lower back, the stock standard stuff.
Yeah.
Computer stuff stuck over there.
Yeah.
It helped me with my neck. It was incredible, got into my fingers and my ears, and I could move my neck. Bingo. That's why I love you, Corky King.
Right. But this is the whole thing. Because it can be taught to other people and other modalities, it isn't about trying to turn anyone into, like my basic training is reflexology. It isn't trying to turn anyone into a reflexologist, which, by the way, is a specialist in the nervous system, like a chiro is to a skeletal system and the physio is to the muscular system. But it isn't about turning you into a reflexologist. It's about taking this knowledge, bringing it in, making you a better version of what you do. That's one of the big issues that, and like I said, the third, one of the other big issues that I find that some people just can't believe it's possible.
Yeah.
We can't. There's no way someone can do that.
And that came back to sort of one of your biggest challenges is the belief in the dog.
Yeah. This can't be possible. No one can do that.
Yeah.
If everyone knew it, and it was, it's one of the interests. Like I've been trying to get introductions into things like professional sporting organisations, like AFL clubs, NRL clubs, and this is the biggest problem I find, that this can't be possible.
Yeah.
And when I worked on an ex-AFL player that had only just finished the year before, I worked on him for 15 minutes and he hopped up off the table and felt his calves and Achilles and turned around and said to me, "Where the hell have you been all my career?" And that's when it made me realise that no one in professional sport is actually using this. And I'm like, it is that simple and easy.
Yeah.
Like I said, with everything that's happened in the NRL and the AFL with ASADA, WADA, and all the drug process, when we've got a natural process that we can do, it's just absolutely incredible.
I think so. That leads into my next part of talking about these challenges. And for these groups, what would be 3 top tips to help them overcome these challenges, or
try it.
Moving forward, yeah, well, absolutely.
That's simple. That is one of the biggest things. Like I said, I can show people.
Yeah.
Just try it. Show them. Like I said, when you feel it, it's like when you see the results, you hear the results, and you feel the results.
Yeah.
And then the process is that it's basically you feel your body this way.
Yeah.
You do the treatment, and then you feel your body, the same part of your body again, and you feel the freedom.
Yeah. And I can attest, you've done it on my neck, and literally 3 minutes. It was amazing. Amazing.
And this is the whole thing. When we start having a look at professional sporting organisations like AFL, NRL, ARU, the A-League, when you can treat someone on the side of the ground, bang, 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 boom, they're back into competition.
Yep.
If it's something simple. If it's something more serious, then we have a look at reassessing from there, okay? But it's about working in with the existing medical team.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I use is actually a process that I've developed from my experience, from my anatomy and physiology experience from being a nurse and an ambo.
Yep.
And what I've done is being able to look then at reflexology and look for the science behind it.
Yep.
Right? And therefore make it consistent.
Yep. Awesome.
Well, so just getting the results, and that's the thing, like you said, first of all, you can't believe it. And it isn't until you feel it that you go, oh, okay, I can move my neck now. I can do this. I can do that.
Yeah. I love simplicity. I love that you can do it yourself, that you can teach others how to do it. And it gets people back up quicker, and, not just in sporting, but in everyday life. And like I was saying, as a PT, people have got the necks and they've got the lower back, and it's a standard thing. And, if they can help themselves, because that's what I'm really passionate about, is people taking responsibility for their own health and getting themselves back up and moving and back out the door, or back to sort of balance again. The more we can do that, the healthier we are inside and out. So, everybody's connected, and I'm so in tune with what you're saying. It's everything as a whole, and so everything connects. It's not isolated bits and pieces. So what I think you're doing is absolutely fantastic. So at the end of the day, Tones,
just on that point you were making, and it's one of the reasons why I do love working with athletes, and especially professional athletes, because they know their body is their tool.
Yeah.
And when they feel the results, they actually go, want to know more, and they, say, all right, what can I do about this? What can I do about this? How do I manage this?
Yeah.
And and you can just go, yeah. and they just go, they just absolutely love it.
Oh, just frozen up a tick there. Come back to me. You there? Sorry, it just froze up for a sec.
You there?
Yeah, it's gone funny. Damn it.
Yeah.
Trying to hotspot it. What a bummer. You still there? There we go.
Yeah, I'm still here. I can hear you. No problem.
Sorry, darling. It just internet sometimes can go a bit crazy.
Okay.
So, yeah. So at the end of the day, what are you most passionate about? I mean, you're clearly passionate about this, but the thing that really keeps you going each day.
Getting fast results for athletes, whether it's professional athletes, semi-professional, or even just sports people, getting the results so they can get back to what they're passionate about, which is competing.
Yeah.
And if one of the things that really, if I had to pick a smaller group, then I love working with the younger people, especially those ones that have just become professional athletes. They've got a sports injury and they end up being listed on the long-term injury list.
Yeah.
And when they're listed on the long-term, it's their mindset, it's their emotions as well that you're dealing with, and being able to give them the answers so they can actually go, oh my God, I've seen so many young men and women come back almost demoralised and broken after having, their dream job, their dream, being a professional athlete at their fingertips, and then just having it all, go pear-shaped on them. And I look at so many athletes. Like a really good example would have been last year in the AFL, Brett Delidio, who moved from Richmond to GWS. His calves were not a calf issue. It was a nerve issue.
Yeah.
And he was out for, I don't know how much of the season. He was out for 3/4 of the season.
It's soul destroying. Soul destroying. Oh my God.
Yeah. Exactly. And frustrating and this was a grown man. So you do that to an 18-year-old that's just been drafted, and it's like, and just giving them the answers, and someone understands what's going on with their body and why it's happening. Yeah. And you go, right, all right, get things out. But the beautiful thing is, with the higher up you go in sport, the more support you get from physios, from sports physiologists, chiropractors, doctors, because it's not about being the standout. It's being, if you like, filling in the missing link of what's going on. But that's one of the things that's what I am most passionate about, getting people back to competition faster than what they ever thought they could believe they could.
Yeah.
And they go, this is so cool. I thought I was with that player that dislocated his ankle. The headline in the weekend paper after that, he's gone for the season. He actually came back, even with the longer time periods, 2 games before the semis, and that was in round 7. So that was about 12 weeks.
Wow.
He actually played his first game.
Wow, amazing. Tones, this is amazing.
So,
awesome. So, if people want to get in contact with you, where can I send them?
They can contact me direct through my mobile, which is 0437 255 007. They can contact me through Facebook and through Messenger, or they could email.
Yeah, Tony Miller. Yeah.
Yep. It'll be under Somerset Massage and Reflexology.
Somerset Massage and Reflexology. What, on Facebook?
Yes. Or they could contact me by email, which is, it's a long one, but it's all one word. It is Somerset Massage, the word, and reflexology@gmail.com.
Okay, so let's repeat that one again. Somerset Massage and reflexology@gmail.com.
Yep.
Fantastic. Wow. Well, look, I'm a huge fan. I know it works, and it's just incredible. As you say, it's simple,
It's,
it's simple, and it's quick. You know, who doesn't want that? And to be able to help yourself as well. You know, it's a no-brainer to me. I just think it's awesome. Have you got a name for it, Tony? Corky King?
At the moment, it's the actual name for all of this is quite simply, if anything, I just call it the Miller method after myself, which is just because it's just something that I have. It is naturally developed from my thought processes, and looking at anatomy, physiology, looking at the science behind it,
Yep.
and science is about consistent results. And so this is where I've developed this over the number of years.
All right. Oh, it's going funny again, the internet. So I love that, Tony. Thank you so much for spending the time with me, and I'm really
Thanks for having me, Sal.
About what you're doing, and I just think it's really needed. And if we can open our minds and apply simple but doable processes straight away, get us back on the field, whatever, it's awesome. So thanks again for joining us on Magic Light Moments, and we'd love to chat to you again shortly about the Miller method and where it's going.
All right.
See you next time, Tones. See ya.
Thanks, Sal. Bye.